Call this meeting to order, May 5th, 2026. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag.
Oh, I see the tips.
All right, good morning, everyone. Happy Cinco de Mayo. We do have a quorum present this morning with all 5 commissioners in attendance. Commissioners, we do have a request to amend the agenda. We need to add a couple items for executive session at the end. One will be for personnel and the other for potential litigation. So if there are no other questions or corrections to the agenda, entertain a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Toman. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. First up is county resident comments and concerns. This time, if there's anyone online or in the audience who would like to address the governing body on any issues, you have 3 minutes and the floor is now open. Seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the county resident comments and concerns portion of the agenda, and that's going to move us right along into tab A. Under tab A this morning is the consent agenda. You've got 8 items before us. First being the approval of the April 21st, 2026 meeting minutes. Second being the approval of the abates and rebates. Third is the approval of bonds. Fourth is the approval of the county vouchers, warrants, the expenditure approval listing, and the commissioner's report. Fifth is a request to ratify the memorandum of understanding between the United States Department of the Interior, Bureau of Land Management, Rock Springs Field Office, and the Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners. Sixth is a request to ratify participation in the opioid 6 remnant defendant settlement agreement. Seventh is a request for the Sweetwater County Federal Natural Resources Policy Account for NERPA funds for the year of 2026. And lastly, item number 8 is a request to restaff a vacant position in the county attorney's office. Commissioners, at this time, I would ask if there are any items you wish to remove off the consent agenda for further discussion. With none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Slaughter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. That's going to move us right along into commissioner comments. Looks like I'm up first today, so there will be no lunch. And a pretty quick report for me. After our last meeting, I attended the cooperators meeting with the BLM in regards to the RMP amendment process, and things continue to move forward there. We will look to likely have the public aspect of that opening up towards the end of this month for public comment and review, but certainly appreciate the continued involvement with that process as we work through the amendments. Day or two after, Rob and I attended a meeting for the opioid committee, which was a couple hours, I think. It was a lengthy one, but we went through kind of the analysis of the data that was reported to you all at one of our last meetings, and kind of ranked the different needs throughout the community based off the information before us. And so Corona Insights will be compiling all of that information and producing a final report the way I understand it. So it'd be good to move forward with that right in time for budget. So aside from that, I was out of the office all last week on vacation with a family trip. So I'll keep it relatively short. I do have a quick update from the Public Works Department that I'll share just for you're all knowing as to what's going on. We continue to have some vandalism issues. I spoke to the one at the Crossroads bathroom. I think the last meeting, we went ahead, started repairs in that, and then over the weekend had another incident where someone actually took a motorcycle inside the bathroom and peeled out on the freshly painted floor. And so we've had issues at that. We've had issues at the Trap Club with vandalism. Once again, if anyone sees anything, please document it, call the sheriff's office, let us know so we can try and get ahead of that. At the buildings department, the combined facility continues to work on the generator issue and hope to have solutions soon to finally move past that. Southwest Counseling Maintenance continues to work well with those discussions and cooperation. There was obviously a change at the district court judge's office swap with Judge Lavery's retirement and incoming Honorable Judge Stith, and so they're moving around and doing some maintenance upkeep at those offices, working with the judge's staff. They're fixing damaged walls and moving things around at the HHS building per some of the recent changes with moving around VSO, the clerk and treasurer's office, and obviously Board of Health. White Mountain Mall, or not White Mountain Mall, White Mountain Library HVAC project is going to be out to bid soon. And the maintenance crew handled 148 work orders in April. Road and Bridge, staff is continuing spring maintenance on all the county roads. Rain and snow has been obviously much needed help. They received spring delivery of traffic control signs, and the majority of those will be north of Rock Springs and Jamestown. Finished delineation and trash pickup on Blairtown Road, County Road 51, and continue to clean culverts and cattle guards in preparation for mag chloride season. Engineering, the Justice Center parking lot coat contractor has patched about 75% of the areas. The CMAC project pre-construction conference has been scheduled. The multi-plate culvert for the dry wash on the McKinnon Road, County Road 1 pipe extension has been delivered. They'll wait until school's out to extend the large diameter pipe into the shoulder of the roadway. Rock Springs Youth Home roof project is proceeding and should be done this week if everything goes well. By the way, I did have a quick conversation with Gene in regards to that project. I believe they were going to have it done, what did you tell me, 2 days, 4 days? 4 days, pretty quick. And so once they get, the shingles off the existing roof, sometimes there can be water damage underneath. And it's one of those things where you don't really know necessarily until it's exposed. And so there is some contingency funds in there if need be. But given that they're likely to be done in a relatively short pace, he and I will communicate if any of those needs come up with, obviously would still stay within the bounds of the budget for that contract. But I just wanted you to be aware that hopefully it all goes without any needs of contingency. But in the case that that's brought up, we'll keep you in the loop there. Had a kickoff meeting for the feasibility study for the Rock Springs Youth Home and have continued to exchange information with the consultant on that project. And they had a kickoff meeting for the Green River Courthouse feasibility study, which will be Thursday of this week. In Parks and Rec, the department's off and running for the season. They're mostly fully staffed with seasonals. They're getting a lot of things accomplished and ready for the summer season. Trap Club has been operational on Sundays for about a month with a sporadic turnout there. They've completed the cleaning of the Crossroads bathrooms that I just spoke about with more damage to come. The main irrigation line to the Reliance ball field was damaged last week. They decided to take advantage of a bad situation and replace the valve set and closed everything into a manhole so it's easier to operate and easier to keep kids from throwing rocks into the valve boxes and damaging the valves, which I believe was also an issue last year. So with that, commissioners, plenty of work ahead, but I'm going to keep it brief and then stand for any questions. Commissioner Slaughter, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nice to see the moisture outside. I hope we get a few more days of this and maybe some snow in the mountains wouldn't hurt anything. So it's good to see that. On the 22nd, I too attended the BLM cooperator meeting. The meeting was to review the progress of the Rock Springs RMP amendment. The new local administration still seems to be very receptive to the changes we've requested. It's been a pleasant change. Excuse me. Their work is still on time and they will keep us apprised as they move along in the process. As the chairman stated on the 23rd, we met with the opioid committee. Corona Insight team seems to be doing a great job. They've pretty well finished the needs assessment. The 4 members of our team, as the chairman described, went through an exercise to prioritize areas to focus our efforts on. It's kind of surprising. The results showed a fairly similar set of answers from each of us. The presentation of the full needs assessment should be soon. After that, I started working group one-on-one reviews on the Antelope Migration Corridor with work study group members. Sarah Dorenzo of the governor's office and I held individual phone interviews with 4 of the members of the Sublet Antelope Migration Corridor local working group. The purpose was to allow them to individually critique our process and to help them with the understanding of the consensus model decision process that we will be using to develop recommendations for the governor. Our next meeting is next Monday in Pinedale, and we will begin deliberations on recommendations at that time. On the morning of the 28th, I met with John DeLeon, Deputy County Attorney, to review a couple of questions that have arisen with the Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board. John was very helpful, and I think we agreed upon the correct path to move forward with these issues. The Capital Committee then met to prioritize capital requests that have been received for fiscal 26-27 budget. The committee was able to agree on the priority, and the list will be compiled by Rebecca Romero and sent on to the Board of County Commissioners. Rebecca then presented her ideas for simplifying the capital budgeting process for the future. The committee agreed this was a good solution, and so Rebecca sent out her proposal to each of the Board of County Commission members for review, and we received that middle of the week. After that, I met with Land Use Director Bingham, County Fire Warden Alan Adams, and the Green River City Administrator Reed Clevenger and Fire Chief Bill Robinson to do an after-action review of the Scotts Bottom fire. Chief Robinson led us through the events that took place with the fire and explained the protocols that were in place. His review was very thorough, and he stated things were handled very well. He felt the coordination with the county agencies and Fire District Number 1 were excellent, and he appreciated the help. He stated he would rather call for assistance than have everyone calling him while events such as this are unfolding. Overall, the response was as good as could be expected. He was receptive to the idea of just keeping more information among us, and he will continue to try and do that. I told him if there's anything that I can do, that I am the liaison to that department, I would be glad to help him with anything that we could do. On the 30th, once again held working group interviews, conducted another set of interviews with different members of the local working group. Proved to be a very worthwhile exercise in moving toward the final recommendations for the governor. On the 1st, I filled in for Commissioner Richards in conducting the monthly federal partners meeting. Participant numbers were down, which I thought was to be expected after having just heard from the agencies last month at our commission meeting. Michael Gates of the Rock Springs BLM gave a short update on the progress of the RMP amendment. Charette Bonomo is working as the temporary district ranger for Ashley National Forest and gave a short presentation on Forest Service activities. Trinity Lewis from Congresswoman Hageman's office updated activity in Washington, mentioning the passage of the Farm Bill and the resolution to fund government operations finally being funded. Congresswoman Hageman had just returned to the state and is conducting a couple of town hall meetings in the northern part of the state. Tom Burris and Larry Folks of the Sweetwater County Conservation District gave a short report on their activity, and we also heard from Land Use Director Bingham. After that, I came back over here and was able to congratulate Donnelly Boback at her retirement celebration. It was a nice celebration for a very devoted public servant and a very good friend. I wish Donnelly a long and happy retirement. I think she provided excellent service for Sweetwater County for a long time. After that, we had our working group regular meeting, regular weekly meeting. Sarah Dorenzo and I met with Game and Fish representatives to work on presentations and the agenda for the 4th working group meeting. It was pretty much business as usual. On the morning yesterday, finished up with our working group one-on-one meetings, and then met yesterday afternoon with the County Museum Board in a special meeting to finish their budget request for the county for fiscal 26-27. I can say a lot of thought went into their planning, and they were very receptive to working with the county. Their request will be the same as what it was last year. After a lot of conversation, they understand the position that we're in and are very willing to work with us. But I thought that they did a really good job going through their options and deciding on how they would propose their budget this year. I then spent the rest of the afternoon updating balances for the Specific Purpose Tax Joint Powers Board as interest was received for the month of April. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I will close my report and stand for any questions.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate the report. Questions or comments for Commissioner Slaughter? Not, Commissioner Tillman, the floor is yours.
All right, on the 22nd, I did also attend the BLM cooperator meeting on the Rock Springs Resource Management Plan Environmental Assessment. New cooperator contracts were signed just to update who's going to be the cooperator sitting at the table. There was great discussion regarding the ACECs, and an administrative draft will be made available to the cooperators at a May cooperator meeting. After that, there will be a public draft released. The final EA is proposed for October with a final record of decision in March of 2027. On the 23rd, I traveled to Lyman to our monthly Coalition of Local Governments meeting. Used to be 2 items on the agenda, now it's 2 pages of items. We reviewed the Rock Mountain Power and coal plant issues, update regarding Pacific Core and RMP selling their Washington-based assets. There was discussion about the oil and gas leasing, carbon storage projects, a supplemental EA on 12 oil and gas lease sales in Wyoming in response to litigation. So we're waiting for a final decision on that one. 2026 second quarter oil and gas lease sale. Modified proposal is to offer 108 parcels totaling 119,595 acres. 100 other parcels were deferred. So that's in a protest right now. The 2026 third quarter oil and gas lease sale, there are 271 parcels totaling 357,357 acres. The scoping comments were filed February 23rd. Should be an environmental assessment out soon. The fourth quarter oil and gas lease sale scoping notice for the 274 parcels totaling 368,618 acres. Comments are due May 21st, so the scoping has been completed on that one. Sweetwater Uranium's mine plan of operation is available for comments. The Uranium In Situ Recovery Project, comments were submitted on April 27th. The Greater Sage Grouse RMP amendment, it's on hold due to litigation, and we are holding our position from the 2015 plan if this one is thrown out. Oh, there are tons of topics, wild horses. Comments are due May 4th on the Red Desert complex of gathers. The Rock Springs BLM Guzzler Project, they propose to install and place 6 1,000-gallon guzzlers on BLM lands to provide water sources for mule deer, elk, pronghorn, native bird species, and other small mammals in coordination with Wyoming Game and Fish Department and Muley Fanatics. No updates on Ashley, Bridger Teton. They did have a cooperators meeting, which we're not allowed to attend, but there is discussion about Wild and Scenic River proposals. Let's see, we talked about the Flaming Gorge releases, the drought response operations plan. BLM proposal to expedite the environmental review for timber salvage and thinning products with proposed categorical exclusion. Comments are due May 6th, which we will comment as a coalition. And we got an update on the U.S. Wildland Fire. New fire headquarters will be out of Boise, and they're combining the Forest Service and the BLM. The regionalization of the forest offices, bringing the headquarters to Salt Lake, will include the states of Wyoming, North and South Dakota, Nebraska. Oh, probably Utah. I didn't catch that. Anyway, so that's our monthly coalition meeting with all the federal land and resource issues. That afternoon, I attended the Southwest Manufacturing Partnership meeting at Green River Western Wyoming College. They continue to work on internship, job opportunity experiences for youth. Aspen Medical Center had their 10th anniversary open house. I attended that. That was great. And that weekend, I took food to the shearing crew for the ranch. And it's always the dustiest day of the entire year. So nothing changed there. On the 27th, the Joint Powers Communication Board, I did that one via the phone. Their budget is progressing on schedule for the year. A computer cooler compressor had to be replaced. They are working on a proposal to provide IT services to the city of Green River with the possible additional hire of one IT person and possibly a contract with the Green River Fire Department for IT services. The proposed cost to those entities will be a 20% hardware replacement per year. All city-owned IT equipment would be transferred to the Joint Powers Board. They feel that by combining services, this will provide efficiency and a cost effectiveness for the city. Patrol will see the most benefit with standardization of equipment. The conceptual contracts are being prepared for the cities and county to review, so heads up for that one. On the 28th, I attended the University of Wyoming Extension interview for a community health and vitality position. There were 5 candidates, but we just interviewed the top candidate, a very positive individual. So I'm hoping they will hire her. So that job, it has a lot of opportunities to work with economic development, youth. It'll be partly involved with the 4-H youth. But the person who applied for the job did a great PowerPoint covering the issues and ways that she could serve the county. So I think we can look forward to a great relationship there. It's the first time that we've had this position in the county through UW Extension. And Island was supposed to be on that interview committee, but somehow I ended up being on it, but it was great. So you missed a good one. On the 30th, I attended via phone the Golden Hour board meeting. Meal count is holding steady, in some cases increasing. The director continues to seek grants. She's working on 3 right now, and volunteers and finding volunteers to support the center. They are working with Jean to redo the front doors. United Way has volunteered to paint the expanded meeting room. They had a great bingo night and Easter dinner. Another heads up, the Fine Arts Center dissolution of that 501c3 that went defunct in 2016. Rock Spring City and School District 1 have signed the dissolution agreement. Now it will come to the county for a final signature. On Saturday, I traveled to Evanston for a celebration of life for a family who lost, Sean Sims lost his wife, Lacey Sims, after a 15-year battle with an autoimmune disease. It was a sad event, but also, I guess, inspirational. So condolences to that family. Yesterday, I was in the office working on agenda and items. Tonight, I have the FFA Awards night with Niece Taylor. Tomorrow night, she has a choir concert at Green River High School. And those are always quite entertaining. On the 7th, I will go to the local emergency management planning meeting at 9 a.m. at the Sheriff's Department. At 3 p.m., I will go to the Conservation District local work group where they annually identify natural resource issues, followed by their board meeting. And next week, I shall travel to Tinsley to represent the county at the spring board meeting of the Wyoming County Commission Association. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Questions or comments for Commissioner Tolman's report? Did I understand that correctly? The Joint Powers Communication Center is also entertaining the idea of providing IT support to the city of Green River and the fire department? Interesting. So
I
that's
think
going to be for the partners?
I will go meet with the director to get a little more information, but they will have to present their proposals to the cities and the county before they move forward. So
Very
you
good.
will see something soon,
Mr. Chairman,
if I understood that
Richards.
correctly.
Commissioner Tolman, I thought last year we talked about that very subject. And when we asked them about it, they said, no, that wasn't what they were doing, that they were only extending their IT for their communications equipment. But now they're talking about full IT services.
Yes. And I do have dollar amounts of those contracts if you're interested in what they're proposing.
Additional comments? Thanks for the report and for covering me next week. Appreciate that. Commissioner Richards, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, commissioners. It's mostly been a pretty light couple of weeks, especially compared to what our last couple of months had been looking like, so I won't complain. On the 22nd, I joined all of you at the BLM offices here in Rock Springs for Rock Springs Resource Management Plan Amendment meeting. You all covered that sufficiently, so I won't beat a dead horse. Later that evening, I attended a power coalition meeting with some local stakeholders and industrial power users from the county in an attempt to gauge future electrical capacity needs for our community. It was a good meeting, and we got a lot of good information from those that attended, but as always, turnout could have been better. On Tuesday, the 28th, I spent most of the morning here at the courthouse catching up on paperwork and working with Kelly to draft today's amazingly short agenda. You were all very welcome. Later that day, I attended an SEDC board meeting where we received a proposal from Marty Carollo, who has offered to spend some time developing some standard operating procedures for our BR&E program and to help better develop a job description for future contract employees. That evening, I attended the Southwest Counseling Board meeting where they conducted regular business, approved the hiring of a psychiatric nurse position, and adopted their new board bylaws. As you all know by now, they have also announced the hiring of Sheriff John Grossnickel as their new executive director. He'll be assuming that role on June 1st, and the board is excited to finally have new permanent leadership in place. On the 29th, I headed to Saratoga for the Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Summit, which took place on the 30th and the 1st. As always, it was very informative. It's great to see how other communities, both around the state and around the country, are leveraging outdoor recreation for the benefit of their own residents' quality of life, as well as their local economies. Keynote speaker on Thursday was a gentleman by the name of Stacy Bear. If you ever have the opportunity to see Mr. Bear speak, I strongly encourage you to take advantage of it. He was in the Army a couple decades ago, and when trying to find his way in the years that followed, he found himself doing adventure sports like climbing and skiing, among others, which he turned into a cottage career business of filming himself doing that all over the world, and then using it as a way to help other veterans transition from service to civilian life. Following that, he found himself lost again as he looked for a new career, which he eventually found in Parks and Recreation in Michigan. Something he talked about that really hit home were studies that showed the positive impact that something as simple as trail development in a community could have on the overall health of that community, as well as the positive benefits to mental health. One of the statistics he showed us was that for every mile of trail that is developed in a community, every mile directly translates to approximately $3 per resident annually in overall healthcare cost savings. So if you develop the great outdoors within your community, you save yourself money forever on the health of your citizens. That was pretty much it for the official duties for the last couple of weeks. Looking forward, on Thursday, along with Commissioner Jones and a couple others, I'll head to Bear Oil for a tour of UR Energy's Lost Creek uranium mine. On the 11th, I'll attend a regional economic development call hosted by the Wyoming Business Council. On the 12th, the Power Coalition will be meeting with Rocky Mountain Power executives for an in-depth discussion about local electrical capacity needs and their ability to meet them. Then that evening, I'll be joining my wife and some friends on a long-planned trip to Alaska, from which I won't return until the 24th. So sadly, I won't be at our next meeting on the 19th. That means I won't see all of you again until our first June meeting on the 2nd. Before I leave off, I want to wish all of you happy Cinco de Mayo. Also, in celebration of all the great teachers out there, I want to recognize that today is National Teacher Appreciation Day. And also notably, it is National Small Business Week and National Travel and Tourism Week. And finally, Sunday is Mother's Day, so I want to wish my daughter, my wife, and my mom, as well as all the other moms out there, happy Mother's Day. I think that's all I have for you today, Mr. Chairman. Happy to stand for any questions.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate the report and certainly the short agenda. Job well done. Comments for Commissioner Richards? Commissioner Jones, your bat and cleanup.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for giving half of my report. Good to see the moisture out there finally. I guess winter hit, so that's nice to know. Just a little information for folks, though. If you're traveling east, sounds like I-80 is pretty ugly around the Laramie Cheyenne areas. It's either closed or definitely difficult to travel on, so be safe out there. On the 22nd, I attended the Rock Springs BLM RMP meeting as well. That's been covered. I also, on the 22nd, attended the Americans for Prosperity legislative debrief, which was very informative. Folks really encourage you all to go out to these events and our town halls and everything else and get engaged. There's lots of good information out there. Excuse me, on the 24th, I was interviewed by a young gentleman by the name of Tariq Miller. He's a freshman at UW from Iowa. The Wyoming Office of Outdoor Recreation recommended he interview me as he's working on a paper and a project studying outdoor recreation in Wyoming, the changes over the years, the past, the present, future habits, and the financial impacts of it all. Thoroughly enjoyed speaking with Tariq. We've talked for about a half an hour. He seems like a great young man. And on a side note, he plays on the offensive line for the Cowboy football team. So we ended the call with a go Pokes. On the 27th, I attended a planning meeting for our off-road ride across the state that's been mentioned in celebration of our 250th anniversary of the country. Everybody, this was the first time for all the attendees to join in, and so everybody got a chance to introduce themselves, say a little bit about them, where they're from, why they're going on the trip. It sounds like we're going to have a great variety of people from across the state and actually some from out of state. So pretty encouraged to see the turnout, and it should be a great time. I continue to have multiple conversations regarding this trip as there's a tremendous amount of interest. One of the goals is to possibly make this a permanent route with maybe some variations, some little side trips here and there. So hope that ends up being the case. On the 29th, I attended the Board of Health meeting. We discussed several topics, but probably one of the biggest was the upcoming budget and federal funding to the state of Wyoming and whether or not they can apply for that and receive any. And sounds like possibly for a nurse, but it's still a little unclear. I don't think the legislature knows for sure, so there's no way for us to know yet. Also on the 29th, I attended the Memorial Hospital Sweetwater County Finance Committee meeting. The hospital continues its positive trend on their bottom line, which of course is a great thing. Their hard work's definitely paying off, so happy for the results. On the 1st, I attended the Federal Partners meeting. That one's been covered. Also on the 1st, I attended the retirement party for Donnelly Boback as well. Congratulations, Donnelly. Thanks for your years in service to the county and enjoy your retirement. Last thing, in addition to Cinco de Mayo, it's also Taco Tuesday, so do with that as you please. That concludes my report.
Thanks, Commissioner. Comments, questions for Commissioner Jones' report? If not, that'll conclude the commissioner comments portion of the agenda, and that's going to move us right along into tab B, which is the action and presentation items. I don't know if Gary was presenting this next item or not. Does anyone know? Gene, you ready to go? Okay, we're going to pause on item number 1. I believe Gary's coming up for that, so we're going to skip forward to item number 2, which is the award of the Laos Drive County Road 1243 reconstruction project, and we'll hand it over to Public Works Director Gene Legursky. Morning, Gene.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman West, Commissioners. What you have before you is the award of the Laos Drive reconstruction project. Couple things on this project. We actually tried to bid it differently than we have in the past. So what we did is the engineer came up with 4 different options by geotechnical reports. And typically you do a base bid and award on the base bid, or you do a base bid plus an alternate. What we decided to do is because of varying reasons, contractors typically try to move money around to do that. So we basically had said, hey, it's base bid plus all alternates is what, what's going to be awarded. Some of them were deductive alternates, some of them were additional alternates. That gave us a good chance to be able to study the alternates and figure out which one is the best bang for the buck for Sweetwater County. And that's why we settled on Matson Construction was a low bid based on those. Matson Construction, actually the best alternate for the county is also concrete for that whole entire roadway. One of the things that did happen during that bid letting is there was some questions raised on Matson's bid. I detailed that very detailed in my report to you guys. After talking with John and using the experience that I have in bidding, those are very inconsequential things. In bidding, they did not have anything to do with work, price, or procedure of the work. So therefore they were considered inconsequential and thrown out and awarded to Matson Construction. As you know, in various topics and various portions of the contract and the bidding contracts, the county commissioners can award a contract based on the best interest of the county, depending on making sure the stuff doesn't affect the, the ward and everything like that. So I would recommend awarding this contract to Matson Construction. And I know I have an amount here, an amount of $1,577,436.28. This will be paid out of fuel tax money.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate the background. Questions for the award, commissioners? Not, I'd entertain a motion to award the contract for the reconstruction of Leos Drive to Madsen Construction LLC in the amount of $1,577,436.28 and authorize the chairman to sign all necessary contract documents.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. It's going to move us to item number 3, which is the temporary construction easement, and we'll hand it back to Gene.
Thank you, Chairman West. What this is a temporary construction easement for Leos Drive. In the process of designing this and trying to pick up some more grades, we don't have flat spots in the road. If you guys know where Leos Drive is, the upper west side of that road, Bodek Electrical owns that property, sorry. And when we started looking at grades and everything like that, it was necessary to extend their curb radiuses out and their runs into their driveway, getting off our right of way and actually getting onto their right of way and extending those out to make positive drainage out of their parking lot. Right now, their parking lot drains, but because we're raising the road a little bit, we need that extra little bit to go in and fix the drainage problem that we would cause on their land. And all this is a temporary construction easement to allow us to do this, to make the road better for everybody and make Bodek Electric whole. They've already assigned the agreement.
Questions on the easement, commissioners? I think this has all of us signing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the temporary construction easement agreement between Sweetwater County and Bodek Holdings LLC as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Item number 4 is action on a right-of-way grant offer from the BLM regarding County Road 25. We'll hand it back to Gene.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What you have before you is a right-of-way grant offer from the BLM for the Hiawatha Road. That's the road down at the end of 430 that goes in and out of Colorado various times. It's a very important road for oil and gas development down there, recreation, everything like that. Oh, about 25 years ago, we noticed that one of the culverts was starting to slide in previous, and nobody's ever attempted to fix it. Well, we're going to go in and attempt to fix it now. It's getting bad enough where it's starting to affect the roadway and everything like that. And in the process of going through, trying to get a 200-foot right of way through the BLM, they noticed that this was an RS 2477 road that they granted us back in 1976. And they said, hey, why don't you just apply for the right of way grant for the whole entire road? So that's what we ended up doing. It was actually a quick turnaround as far as the BLM concerned. I believe we talked about this in October of last year. So pretty amazing for them to actually turn this around and go through that, especially when it's the whole entire roadway. So I would recommend that we sign this right-of-way grant offer and allow the chairman to sign.
Thank you, Gene. Any questions on the right-of-way grant offer? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the right-of-way grant offer from the BLM regarding County Road 25 and authorize the chairman to sign as presented.
So
Mr.
moved.
Chairman,
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Believe we have a second.
I will second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. It's going to bring us to item number 5, which is Resolution 26-05-EN-01 A resolution to appoint a viewer to consider the establishment of a county road for the Toman Ranch Road. We'll hand it back to Gene.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a little bit of background. This is something we talked about very heavily with Dr. Cooper and other people last commission meeting. And just to follow up, but just to educate everybody, I know we've done this a ton of times. This is the first step in a long process if you guys want to go forward. So basically what happens after this is the viewer gets appointed, the viewer comes, does his report, presents it to you guys, and then you guys get to decide if you want to go any further. If you go further, then there's a public comment period. You get to collect public comments, and then you guys got to get to decide if this is a county road. There's also some other confusion of how the school district is involved and everything like that. The school district was an original petitioner in this. They have decided to take over as kind of as lead petitioner. However, everybody that signed it originally back in 2023, I believe, was an original petitioner. So the school district did ratify that by voice vote on 3/21/2023. So they are going to step in and pay the $1,500 fee that we charge for mailing and everything like that. I've been asked a lot of times on why is it only $1,500 when the viewer is $8,500? That's something that we've done in the past. We've paid as much as $12,000 for a viewer, but we've always kept it consistent at $1,500 for the general public so they can come forward and see this. We don't feel that depending on the road, depending on if we do the viewer in-house or out-of-house, it costs more money. So we've always kept that. We can change that if you guys would like to, but I do have enough money in my professional account to pay for the viewer's report after this. One thing that I'd like to point out is in this resolution, it pretty much mirrors the exact same resolution with 2 modifications. I went through and on the second whereas, or no, second therefore, I named exactly what they needed to get from the Bureau of Rec. And then the other part is if it's deemed necessary, number 3, by the viewer's report, the W&M and Tolman Ranch Road shall execute a 60-foot right-of-way on behalf of Sweetwater County to the Tolman Ranch School. And I think this is important because the Tolman Ranch School is actually located on private land. There makes no sense to have a county road stop at a fence line. So if we want to make this a county road for the school, I think it needs to go all the way to the school. You guys can subtract or add that in there, but I think it's important in the resolution. There is a if deemed necessary by the viewer's report, so it's just not my thing, so the viewer's report can say yes or no. But I think that's very important. If it's a county road for public access for the school, it needs to go to the school. So we have the right to clear the road all the way through there.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate that. There was an article that was released after, I believe it was our last meeting, that was not exactly accurate. It made it sound as though we had already moved forward with establishing this road as a county road. And as you started the conversation off with, we're about the first 10% in the process that started, I believe it was April of 23 to initiate the viewer at that time, which is the process you just went through. But as I recall, that was somewhat hingent on Lincoln County because the road goes through Lincoln County, there's Bureau Rec, and then back into Sweetwater. And so it didn't make a whole lot of sense to start with Sweetwater when they're at the end of the process. And then obviously what you just mentioned with, the private landowner itself. So that was a little misleading. Some of the public paid attention to that, which I appreciate. But this whole process is a state statutory process that we've followed on several other circumstances regarding roads or other individual processes. I believe we had one in the clerk's office as well. But it's very open, it's very public, it allows for public input and engagement. And so I just want to reiterate that, we are following the process, and depending on, which avenue we go, we have certain steps within that where we can continue or choose not to. And so with all of that said, that was more for clarification, but the way I understand this still, now we're talking about the right-of-ways that the petitioner should or shall receive from the Bureau. Where are we at with Lincoln County on that?
So right now, Lincoln County, in 10 minutes, they will be doing the exact same thing we are doing and ask for permission to go forward with this. The one thing that Amy and I have talked about, and she's the county engineer for Lincoln County, is there's no use getting 2 viewers. So they are going to ask the commission if they can just accept our viewers report as their thing. As you remember, I think it's 360 feet or something like that in Lincoln County. The reason they did it now is because Dr. Cooper, Sweetwater School District number 2, has provided documentation to them that they have applied for the Bureau of Rec right away. With government agencies, like we talked about the past, it could be fast, it could be slow, but the Lincoln County engineer has taken that on good faith that they have applied for that, and it's going through the process. Okay. The one thing that Lincoln County didn't want to do, and I agreed when I talked to her, is we stop this process, wait 6 months when we could be going through the process. if you guys so decide, and then all of a sudden we got to pick up the process and it could be another year. We would like to try to get Lincoln County, us and Bureau of Rec all on the same train and go down. So when we get everything in place, we're through the petitioner report and we're going forward with this.
Appreciate that. Questions or comments on the resolution, commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 26-05-EN-01, a resolution to appoint a viewer to consider the establishment of a county road for the Toman Ranch Road as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I will abstain, even though I don't live there.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richards. Any discussion? This started 3 years ago and it's sat idle ever since. And I believe the majority of that is because of the Lincoln County issue. And then obviously with the new superintendent coming to the school district, I think there's another push to kind of get it back on. But at that time, we weren't considering an $8,500 cost for a viewer. That has drastically increased. And overall, I don't think I can support this. I don't think it makes sense for the situation that's been presented. Back then, I didn't know the information that we now know, and obviously the cost wasn't the same at that point in time either. But, we're looking at 2 to 3 kids. It's a road that's been there for 69 years with relatively, no issues other than perhaps, some winter storms. And I just practically don't think it makes a whole lot of sense from a budgetary standpoint, even to move forward with a study, for $8,500. That's a big ask, from my opinion. So I will not be supporting it.
What is the cost to the county overall if this whole thing goes through and done at the end of the day?
We're going to recommend that they bring it up to county standards. Now, county standards in Lincoln County are different than our county standards. The reason the increase of the report is they have to make sure that that can meet fire code standards, which is an 85,000 pound vehicle going in and out of that. There's been some debate with landowners and stuff like that it's a good road. It is a good road, but we have to prove that it can do 85,000 pounds. And we have to have it topped. We have to have it 24-foot wide. We have to have ditches and crossroads. So that will all be borne by the petitioners. As I stated before, that can vary depending on what we find. Top end's probably $800,000. Bottom end is probably 55,000 a mile, 1.6 miles. You're looking at $85,000, $90,000 on the low end. So it varies everywhere in between that. That will not be borne by the Sweetwater County. I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers to have to do a road that we've got asked to take over. So that is something that if brought before me, I'll bring before you and I will stand solidly against. So right now it is the $8,500 and going through the process, for the rest of that. Typically the $1,500 that we take in covers advertisement and all the mailings that we have to do and stuff like that. And there isn't much money left. So that $8,500 right now will be the total cost to the county going forward. Maintenance is always one of those things. Depends on if we mag chloride or anything like that. For 1.6 miles of road up in that area, we do have a blade in that area that covers everything from basically Fontenelle all the way over to about 20 miles from Farson on County Road 8 and kind of does all of that and a top part of Blue Rim and the dirt roads up there. So we do have a blade in the area, but it adds another 1.6 miles, that he's going to have to hit on occasion. And when you look at that, it's about $3,000 a day to do that. He should be able to do that in a day fairly easily. But how many times depends on the traffic. So I really do not know that. Conservative guess would be about $25,000 a year if we do not mag it. If we mag it, it'll be more expensive than that, but the maintenance will drop off over the years once we get the mag in the ground. So kind of a misleading thing. I'm sorry, I don't have an exact answer, but that's about where it is.
Yeah, no, I understand. You can't give an exact answer. I was figuring out a ballpark anyway, because like I said, you don't have much traffic's going to be on it and whatnot. So I guess that's what I'm trying to weigh is our annual expense. I mean, it's good to know that nothing initially, well, $8,500, but after that, nothing initially comes out of the county. So it's minimal amount of money. It's like every project, it looks great today until we get into it and we have to work on it. And then all of a sudden it doesn't look so great. So,
and if I can add, that depends on traffic, which, during school time and stuff like that. But I have been approached by Game and Fish. They are looking for river access, stuff like that. You know, who knows what they'd have to negotiate with the landowner up there, but that's a good river access that's on this side. You know, it'd be a good benefit to the county, more than just a public school. Not that the public school up there isn't worth anything or anything like that. I don't want that to be misconstrued. It's just that, you know, for me, a public road means it's accessible to everybody and it's used by everybody for various means. That's my own interpretation of what a public road is. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, is misconception on there of what's a public road, what's a county road, what's a private road. You know, there are public roads out there that are not county roads. This could be one of them. The school district could own it, maintain it, with the landowner and go on from there. But it's not a county road. We do not maintain it. If it's a county road, we take over everything. We take over all the maintenance, all the signage, all the, you know, whatever happens to that road. And it is a full-fledged county road that the public can use. So that would be the difference.
I don't suppose anybody's come up with any rough idea of how many people outside of the school would use that road for anything, any other uses. I guess that's, if we're doing it for couple of kids, that's a tough sell. If there are a bunch of other people who use it in the county, then that makes it a little easier to jump on board, but we don't really know that.
Correct.
Commissioner Slaughter?
Mr. Chairman, I too have concerns. I think, you know, when we were looking at the petitioners paying $1,500, it was one thing. But I think the county paying an additional $7,000 for this is something that we need to look at, especially with the issues that we're looking at facing our budget at this point in time. The concerns also extend to if it does become a county road and we have to do that maintenance. I think it adds additional costs that once again decrease that pool of money that we've got to fund other things at this point in time. So I too will be voting against this.
Mr. Chairman, if I could clear up one thing, Dr. Cooper actually originally thought they had to pay $8,500, and I told him, no, this resolution is going to be written this way. If you'd like me to go back, talk to him to pay that, I can. They were willing to. I don't know if they still are. But that still doesn't alleviate the concerns of the maintenance and everything like that. That just takes care of this initial upfront cost.
And just for clarity on that, Gene, are we looking $8,500 plus the $1,500?
Yes.
Okay,
So
we're
the
looking at-
$1,500 basically gets eaten up by all the mailers, certified mailers, you know, the advertising in the paper for the various processes and stuff like that. If you look at the ones that we did for McKinnon, Farce and stuff like that, you know, you're right in that $1,500, $1,350 to $1,500 range by the time you send out certified mail, advertise it, you know, 2-3 times in the paper and do stuff like that.
Okay, so the petitioner would pay the $1,500.
Yes.
County would pay a separate
Separate $8,500, correct.
Got it.
Misunderstood that.
Additional discussion. If not, we do have a motion and a second on the table. We'll go ahead and roll call vote this one and start with Commissioner Slaughter.
No.
Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner West is no. Commissioner Toman?
Abstain.
Abstain. Commissioner Richards?
No.
Resolution 2605 EN01 does fail 4-0 with one abstention.
I do have a question on that, and maybe it's for John. Since this resolution supplanted the other resolution that we did 3 years ago, is that resolution still live because this one died? Or do I need to bring a clarification up in front of that? How does that work?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it doesn't, this one's denied. So we can
Right.
talk about how to address the other one. So this one doesn't directly remove the other one.
Okay, and that's fine. And I can do that next time, is just bring some type of resolution to get rid of resolution 2304 EN01. If that would be okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Gene. And that's going to bring us to item number 6, which is the award of the Green River Courthouse Elevator Modernization Project, and we'll hand it back to you. Sorry, I didn't see you walk away or I would have called you.
Let me get on the right page, sorry. So what this is, don't make comments about the elevator stopping a little bit short, okay? What this is the award of the Green River Elevator Modernization Project. As everybody knows, that elevator is original. It's actually pretty cool. If you go into the control room and you want to talk about zeros and ones that weren't zeros and ones. You can go in there and actually look at that and see how switches and diodes and everything worked back in 1964. It's needed to do this. We have it in the budget. As you can see, we bid this back on February 19th. What we have been doing ever since is negotiating the contract. And that, who would ever thought for an elevator, you would have a contract that is very onerous. I can't thank Gary McLean and John DeLeon and the IT department to go through all of this so we can make sure that we get a good project for the county. Kone, just so you guys know, is who does our maintenance on all of our elevators currently. They've done it for at least the 10 years I've been there, and they've done it before that on a lot of stuff. They are one of the top 3 elevator companies in the United States. When you actually look at this, it's very interesting when you look at elevator code and everything like that. Canada and the United States have their own elevator code, and then the rest of the world has their own elevator code. So believe it or not, elevators in the United States and Canada only make up like 12% of their business. It's everywhere else in the world that makes up different elevator codes. So with this, what I would like to do is award the Green River Courthouse Elevator Modernization Project in the sum of $413,360 to Kone and authorize the chairman to sign all necessary project documents. If you do remember, my engineer's estimate was low. However, one meeting ago, we transferred more money from some capital projects that underrun into this to make up the difference. So we are whole on this.
Very good. Thanks, Gene. Questions on the elevator modernization project, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Richards?
Gene, what's the timeline if this is approved?
Because of elections and everything, we're working through that right now. We are actually thinking to just punt and hold off and try to do it after elections in November, December, depending on their workflow or something like that. It might even slide into January. We have a completion day that's in there that we just kind of set arbitrarily right now, but it really depends on orders and everything like that. So we're going to work with Cindy and the clerk's office on everything and try to make sure that we don't have an elevator down or anything like that during the election cycle. We were going to try to squeeze it in between the August and November election. That is possible, but right now, until they order this, they don't know the time frame for their stuff. So last conversation I had with Kone last night was, hey, can we punt this off until maybe Thanksgiving? And I said, sure, I'd bring it before you guys, once we kind of settle on everything. I hate doing a change order for time right now when we really don't know. So once we have everything nailed down and delivery dates and everything like that, we do that. It's about a 6-week project.
And Gene, can you maybe summarize the extent of what this project is? What's going to happen to the elevators?
Elevator's getting completely gutted and it's getting completely upgraded with a hydraulic over electric. The inside of the elevator, we do have some contingency in there to, right now it's just a stainless steel normal elevator that you always see. We do have some contingency in there to redo the lighting. Obviously fire in there is a main concern. They do have an LED monitor for communication for the deaf and hearing impaired that would go into that so they can actually communicate with people that get stuck in the elevator, if they do get stuck in the elevator. The outside of the elevator, outside of the doors, we've kept the same because of the historic nature of what we have. If we change those from that, I don't know what the color is. It's kind of a pinkish color on the outside of those. If we change those, we have to change them on every floor, and that's just a pain. So we're redoing the doors. It gets a new light curtain inside, and what that does is, how right now you have to actually stop the door with your arm and it goes back and forth. The light curtain actually, if the doors are starting to close and somebody penetrates that light curtain, the door will actually swing back open and do something like that. So it's a full modernization to bring it up to 2024 standards.
Additional discussion?
There's no way they could fix it and keep it going, huh?
Well, considering that we have to take out the main hoistway, redo the hydraulics on the bottom, take out all the guts from the 1964 electronics, no. But we have been working with the elected officials and stuff like that about doing some stuff downstairs, a call box outside that we can actually help bring people in. The hard part about that is the first floor south entrance is our only truly ADA accessible thing, and the elevator is an important part of it. When we went through this process, Andy turned around and he looked at chairlifts and all other stuff like that to get people up on the top. For 6 weeks to spend $65,000, $70,000 on a chairlift, we kind of thought that was unneeded and we could work around it, by having a meeting room downstairs and doing stuff like that and actually bringing people down. And once we get, better coordinated. I reached out, I don't know, a year ago to the elected officials. We'll get that all hammered down and make sure that the people that visit the courthouse can do so, conduct their business accordingly, and then leave in the most pleasant manner that they can.
So we're keeping the pink doors.
Keeping the pink doors unless you want them, Mr. Chairman. You can tell me whatever you want and I'll change them.
We'll chat.
Okay. There's a lot of pink doors and pink door trim around here. It's peach. It's not pink. It's peach
Excuse me.
or something. Chartreuse. I don't know what it is. I grew up with an 8-box of crayons, so I don't really know.
He'll probably want that terrible gray that's in his office.
I remember the name of your office color, ma'am.
So do I.
Any additional discussion? Not, I'd entertain a motion to award the Green River Courthouse Elevator Modernization Project in the sum of $413,360 to Kone Incorporated and authorize the chairman to sign all necessary project documents.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous.
I double checked the agenda. I think I'm done. So I'll sit down now.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate it. That's going to bring us back to item number 1 under tab B, which is the request for the approval of multiple resolutions for elected officials' salaries. Resolution 2605 CC01, authorizing salaries for the county commissioners. 2605 CC02, authorizing salaries for elected officials, including the county treasurer, assessor, clerk, district court clerk, and the county sheriff. And resolution 2026-05 CC03, salaries for the county coroner, as well as resolution 2026-05 CC04, resolution authorizing salaries for the county attorney's office. And I believe we have HR Director Gary McLean joining us this morning. Sorry we jumped ahead, Gary, because we were a little bit ahead of schedule, and then you walked in right after. So
All right,
appreciate you working with us there, but we'll hand the floor over to you.
be here all day. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners. I'd like to see the chairman do that again fast.
Yeah, that was
It
kind
is
of rough.
Obviously with the, it really is part of the budget cycle. We need to have numbers to build the budget for this year, for elected officials. In addition, statutorily, the county commissioners are responsible for setting elected official salaries every 4 years by June 1st. It seemed a good time to get this in. We can build any decisions that are made into the budget models for the forthcoming budget. I submitted the resolutions in 4 separate resolutions, partly because there's some different statutes that address salaries for different elected officials. And there's some different circumstances for some of the elected officials. So it seemed cleaner to address them individually and separately. If it's the board's pleasure, just go through them one at a time, or would you like to take action collectively? What's your pleasure?
Probably one at a time.
One at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just start with CC01. This first resolution sets a salary for the county commissioners at $45,000 per year beginning 2027. That will only apply to part of the board, the 3 members who that will be their new term. The others it would apply to when their new term starts. And so the resolution is in accordance with 18.3.107 subparagraph A3. And so this first resolution is setting the county commissioners' salaries at $45,000. Are there any questions or discussion?
Questions or comments on the first resolution, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Jones.
Gary, when was the last time this was increased?
Back in 1912? No, it's been a long time ago. The exact, I think it's been 12 years ago. Yeah, 12 years ago, I think was the last increase. It's been a long time.
So this is for positions, not people. Obviously, nobody up here would receive any of these right now. So I think that's important. And I think it's important to know that, it's been 12 years since this has been addressed or potentially changed depending on the vote today. But And for some of the positions, it would take effect next year, but for some of the positions, it wouldn't take effect for about 3 years.
Yeah. Correct.
So it's 3 years from now. This is basically a 3-year plan before it comes into full effect. So I just think it's really important that people understand that this is for positions. This is not for people. Depending on how the press chooses to write this, it could be accurate or very misleading, but I'll just leave it at that, and hopefully they handle it properly.
Additional discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Richards.
And I think it's worth noting, re-noting, because I think Commissioner Jones covered it a little bit. One, we can only address this every 4 years. Beyond that, we have to address it every 4 years under 18.3.107. This is actually our job to address this. And we're not looking at what it costs the county this year. We're looking at what we pay for these positions for the next 4 and 6 years. We have the luxury of dealing with our rank and file employees anytime we want to. We can put it on our agenda and give a raise to anybody at any time within this whole organization, except for this small group. And this group we can only address once every 4 years, and we have to address it once every 4 years. So when those articles get written and the comments get made, we're not doing this to pad our pockets. We're doing this because this is an important job, and this is part of that important job.
Additional discussion? Not, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-05-CC-01, a resolution authorizing salaries for commissioners as presented, beginning January 1st, 2027 through December 31st, 2030.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all is in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Hand it back to Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The second resolution will address the salaries again, beginning in January 2027 for the following 4 years for the Office of the County Assessor, the County Clerk, the Clerk of District Court, the County Sheriff, and the County Treasurer. The resolution sets the salary of the County Assessor, County Clerk, Clerk of District Court, and County Treasurer at $125,000. Beginning in January 2027, it sets the annual salary of the County Sheriff at $145,000. And also indicates that their elected officials are available to other benefits, travel mileage that are available to other employees. I'd entertain any questions.
Discussion on this resolution. Mr. Jones?
Mr. Chairman, same question. What do you know when the last increases were? Kind of a little bit of a history there. Do you, I should ask you, should have prepared you
That's
before the
okay.
meeting
That's
instead
okay.
of put you on the spot.
That's all right.
Well,
The last elected official change was would have been 8 years ago. Right. 4 years ago. 4 years ago. I'm looking 4 years ahead. So 4 years ago.
Any other discussion?
And what's submitted here, just to be clear for everybody, this is not a change. This is the current level. So you would be approving it for another 4 years.
When I believe at the time these were changed 4 years ago, they were all at 100,000.
That's correct.
They're moved to 125 with the exception of the sheriff and the attorney at that time, which was increased to 145.
That's correct.
Okay. Additional discussion.
Mr. Chairman, years ago when the county-wide officials' salaries were addressed and increased, and the decision was made not to address and increase the county commissioners, it created an issue where the commissioners continued to lag behind. While I know that they received a 25% increase 4 years ago, they're in the same boat as the the county commissioners is this just can't be addressed again for 4 more years. So I'm struggling with leaving it the same. Our countywide elected officials, current and future, are going to struggle with the same inflationary pressures that all of our employees struggle with. And I think we should build in some increase there. Probably not another 25% increase like they received 4 years ago, but we've given our own employees 3, 6, 9, 15% in COLAs over the past 4 years, I think is what it comes out to. I feel like we should at least recognize inflationary pressure and increase this somewhat. I would personally go back to the 6% that we were talking about in one of our workshops.
Any other discussion? Do you want to run that as an amendment, Commissioner?
I guess I can. I move to, do we need to move the resolution before I amend it, or?
I think so, yeah. So if there's no other discussion, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-05-CC-02, a resolution authorizing the salaries of the elected officials from January 1st, 2027 to December 31st, 2030, which include the county treasurer, county assessor, county clerk, clerk of district court, and the county sheriff as presented.
So moved. I've got some discussion, so I'd like to
We've
leave.
got a motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Further discussion?
So that equates to about, for the assessor, clerk, and clerk of district court, the treasurer, each about $7,500 a year. Just as a thought as we're going into our budgets, that will go into effect January 1st, full effect, which is different from the commissioners, correct?
Correct.
So it's a 100% start right off the bat. Well, not right off the bat, but here after the election, after people are elected and sworn in, which is also I didn't do the math, be a little bit more than that for the sheriff. So
Looks like 8,700.
call it $40,000 a year, counting the sheriff, all told. It's not an exact number, but pretty darn close.
Yeah, total cost of employment slightly higher because you have employment taxes, retirement, those sort of things. So it's
Further discussion, Commissioner Slaughter?
Mr. Chairman, I tend to agree. My initial suggestion when we talked about this last month was that we consider the 6%. I stated that I had been in this situation as elected official for a long time, and there were several years where we went 16 years without increases in salary. It's very difficult to do that. So I think that looking at this with a 6% increase for the current contract for 27 through 30 makes sense. I understand where our budget is at, but I think once again, this is something that's totally outside the ordinary and something statutorily we have to do. We can only do it every 4 years. And because of that, I think we have almost an obligation to do that.
Additional discussion?
I will have to oppose this, even though I do support the work that our elected officials do. I support the original proposals.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Richards.
I'd like to make the motion that we amend the current motion and increase the salaries reflected by 6%.
You have a motion by Commissioner Richards to amend the original motion to increase the resolution salary by 6%. Do we have a second on the amendment?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Slaughter. Further discussion? Yeah, these are tough. I think the 6% came from the fact that there was a change legislatively in regards to the county attorney's salary, and that the maximum, I believe, is based off the circuit court judge salary that's set forth by the state, which was increased by 6%. And then obviously the legislature kicked in additional monies for the county attorney's position. And so that's kind of where the starting point came from. I understand the situation. I don't think it's right timing, and that probably sounds funny considering some of the other resolutions before us, but you know, there was a 25 and a 45% increase 4 years ago. So I get it. It's tough. No matter what we do, we're going to be wrong. So I would agree with Commissioner Tillman. I'm going to stick to the original. Additional discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to discuss somewhere in the middle too. If 4.7, roughly 4.7 puts it at 130,000, and open to any of that kind of discussion.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we do have a motion and a second on the table for the amendment, which would increase these by 6%. On the amendment, let's roll call, and we'll start with Commissioner Richards.
Aye.
Commissioner Toman.
Nay.
Commissioner West is a nay. Commissioner Jones.
Nay.
Commissioner Slaughter.
Yes.
The amendment does fail 3-2, and we are now back on the original motion. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion on the original motion? If not, we do have a motion and a second on the original, which is Resolution 2026-05-CC-02. All those in favor of the resolution indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. It's going to move us to Resolution 2026-05-CC-03. We'll hand it back to Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners. As I indicated earlier, there are separate statutes that create requirements for elected officials, so I've separated those. This particular one addresses the salary of the county commissioner, and I'm sorry, of the county coroner, unless any of you want to be a coroner. So Wyoming Statute 74210 requires that salary be set. That would again be January 1st of 2027. The resolution sets that salary at 85,000, which is the current level for the coroner.
Thank you, Gary. Questions on Resolution 2026-05-CC-03, Commissioners? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2026-05-CC-03, a resolution authorizing salaries for the Sweetwater County Coroner position from January 1st, 2027 through December 31st, 2030, as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tillman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. And that'll bring us to the final resolution, which is 2026-05-CC-04, resolution authorizing salaries for the county, for the Sweetwater County Attorney from January 1st, 2027 to December 31st, 2030. I'll hand it back to Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners. As the chairman alluded to, there's been some ongoing debate with the salary at the state level for county attorneys. When we had addressed 3 years ago salaries with the county attorneys within the department. There were some adjustments made at that time to be more in line with the market. The data at that time was shared with various state commissions that were wrestling with this issue. So this year, the legislature kind of came up with a two-part solution to help address this issue. I think the county attorneys collectively around the state were very concerned about both attracting qualified attorneys and retaining them. So the legislature increased the amount, indexed the amount of the county attorney's salary to the circuit court judges. That was one of the significant changes, and they set that salary for the circuit court judges and the maximum salary to better have a competitive position in the marketplace. The second thing that the legislature did independently in the funding bill for the public entities was to approve a lump sum to be divided between the counties, which amounts to about $22,000 in additional reimbursement to the counties for the county attorney salary, with the intent, the stated intent that the county attorney salaries could be increased and offset some of the cost with that to be more competitive. So resolution 2026-05 CC-04 sets the annual salary of the county attorney at $153,700 beginning January 1st of 2027.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. So just for clarity, there's state money available where the state will pay 50% or 50,000 of the county attorney's salary, whichever is less. And they've since added, as of this year, an additional roughly 22,000, and then taken it 6% to match the circuit court.
That's correct. So just to be clear, the increase that's proposed in the resolution, about 13,000, the county would receive about an additional $22,000 in reimbursement.
Discussion on the resolution, commissioners. Not an entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-05-CC-04, a resolution authorizing the salaries for the Sweetwater County Attorney from January 1st, 2027 through December 31st, 2030, as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any discussion?
Yeah, so is that the current salary, the 153?
That is the proposed salary effective January 1st of
Is that
2027.
an increase from the current?
It is,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Any other discussion?
Excuse me, Commissioner Tom, that's the 6% increase that Chairman West alluded to early. That's so a 6% increase to this current amount, which is in line with the circuit court judge salaries.
Currently at 145.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Hearing none, we do have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate your work.
And just to let you know, so we'll implement these changes in the next budget model. So for the next budget, we'll get the figures up into that so that they reflect the changes that the board approved.
Okay,
Okay.
very good.
All right,
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
That does conclude the regular business before us this morning, Commissioners. However, we did amend the agenda at the beginning of the meeting, as you might recall, for 2 items to discuss in executive session, one being for personnel, the other being for potential litigation. It is expected that action will be taken upon coming out. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to enter into executive session. We'll take it up across the hall in the Castle Rock room.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous, and we are now in executive. Entertain a motion to come out of executive session and reconvene the meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Toman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We are out of executive. We do need to take action. Commissioners, I'd entertain a motion to approve the at-will employment contract as discussed in executive session.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Richards. I believe we had a second by Commissioner
Correct.
Jones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. I would entertain a motion to approve a personnel agreement as discussed in executive session and authorize the chairman to sign any corresponding documents.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Slaughter. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Richards. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous. Commissioners, with no further business to come before us today, this meeting stands adjourned.